Hello, it's Wednesday. How are you doing? It is Wednesday. Hello, hello. How are you? Hey. My herbal tea. What's the weather like in Vegas? Hey. What's the weather like in Detroit? All right, y'all, I'm going to get started. Get in and get out. Get in and get out. All right. As you guys know, greetings. I am Monique. I am Monique, and I want to thank you all for joining. As many of you know, tariffs is going on. And so for those who may not know, there's tariffs on any imports that is coming into the country. For Canada and Mexico, it's 25%. And for China, it's 10%. I know you are like, what does this have to do with anything? However, a person like me, I work in automotive, and so it's a challenge because I still have to, I'm a buyer, and so I buy parts, and we all know that everything comes from all over the world. And so a lot of my suppliers are both in Mexico and in Canada. So I have been tasked with, I still have to, the major part of my job is, I have to negotiate pricing. I have to negotiate cost. And so these suppliers are now being hit with this extra tax that they have to now pay. But I'm still expected to come up with cost savings. And so, we had a meeting yesterday, and they were like, listen, you guys gonna have to be strategic, whatever you got to do, but you still need to come up with cost improvement, and you just got to figure it out. And it's going to be different for every company is going to be different. So every supplier is going to be different. And I'm like, I was sitting there stressed out, like, how am I going to do this? This is a challenge. And I think, you guys would agree that this is a challenge. Like, if a supplier is got to pay 25% and I still am expected to come up with 2.5% in savings, that's like 27.5% that the supplier is going to be hit with. And I'm like, God, now you do remember I got a mortgage and I'm a single mama. And so I was stressing about it. And then I started thinking about, I had went to church on Sunday, and the sermon was on, I got confirmation in the sermon. I don't even remember what was on, but I got confirmation in the sermon. And I thought about, while I was sitting there, I thought about Moses. And there are several times throughout scriptures where Moses raised his hand, right? We talked about in one of my very early on chats, I talked about, where's my Aaron? I think that was the name of the chat. And how Aaron was on one side of him and Or was on the other side of Moses. And when they were, as long as Moses' hands were raised, they were winning against the Amalekites. But as soon as his arms would go down, he was losing. And that's in Exodus 17:11. And it actually says, oh, I didn't pull it up, but that's in Exodus 17:11. And as long as his arms were raised up, they were good. But the moment, so that's why his brother and his other guy got on and they lifted his hands. But then I started thinking about when Moses was at the Red Sea. And so now let's go back to thinking about Moses being at the Red Sea. He got the sea in front of him, and he got the Egyptians behind him. How many of us have been in that situation where we see a problem in front of us and a problem behind us? It's like you can't stop. You can't. It's like, Lord, what do you want me to do? And then Exodus 14:21, it says, then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The water was divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with all the walls of water on the right and on the left. And I was like, okay, God. So, like I said, can you imagine? He just saw this. I mean, he just stretched out his hands. And I was just thinking that one thing about God, our faith activates him. Like, it gets his attention when we do. And that was a faith thing right there. I'm going to stretch out my hands, and then here come God. It's like, boop, here come the Red Sea. Moses knew that God was going to do something. He knew that he didn't bring him. He was like, okay, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep, because I know that you didn't bring us, you didn't take us from this place and bring us here without making sure that we were going to be okay. And so, I want us to have outstretched hands and faith at whatever our challenges are. Now, each one of us are going to have a different challenge, for sure. But just like the Israelites, we will walk on dry ground. And so I don't care if it's your job, if it's your marriage, if it's your children, if it's your finances, if it's your health, if it's your peace, no matter what it is. Just know that your outstretched hands and your faith will activate God. And so we're asking God on today to bless it, to heal it, to fix it, to remove it, to strengthen it, or to just keep still, because we do know God is able. And so I thought about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Daniel 3:17 and 18. And it says, so this, they wouldn't bow down to the king. They wouldn't eat his food. And so now they're before the king. And this is what they say. If we are thrown into the fiery furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will not serve your God or worship the gold statue you have set up. So I want you to know that no matter what it is, one, God is able. He's able. But if he chooses not to remove it from you or not to part the Red Sea, just know that he still is going to have you walk on dry ground, no matter what it is. And we got to learn to start telling our challenges how big our God is. And that's what I had to do. I had to get out of my carnal mind of saying, because the first thing I was going into defeat, like, they not going, I'm not going, they not going. No, Lord, you know what's going on. Make my crooked places straight. Just laying my feet on just dry ground. You know, I have been set a task, and I just ask you to help me walk through this task. Help me navigate the path. And I'm just going to trust you however the path goes. And so with that, I just want to leave you guys with, like I said, that even if God chooses not to remove it, not to part the sea for you for whatever reason, not to take you out the furnace, just know that God is still in control and he is fighting your battle. And even if you had to go into that furnace, you're going to come out not even smelling like smoke. So this was a quick one for y'all. I just wanted to get on here and let you know that even with what's going on in the world right now, God is in control. He is, and this is just time for us to activate our faith and not walk around in fear. So I love you guys. And I just wanted to leave you something from my heart to your ears. And I'm Monique. And I thank you for joining. I'll chat with you next week, Lord's will. Bye.